Xin chào. Welcome back everybody to another day of our Vietnam motorbike adventure. Today, we're leaving Ninh Binh and riding towards Pu Luong, a nature reserve in Thanh Hóa province known for its rice terraces, mountain villages, and peaceful scenery. The ride from Ninh Binh to Pu Luong is roughly about 130 to 150 kilometers, depending on the route. And while it didn't look too difficult on paper, today turned out to be one of the toughest riding days so far because of the heat and dust. We left the hotel at around 9 a.m. and planned to take sections of the Ho Chi Minh Trail towards Pu Luong. A lot of riders recommend this route because it's generally more scenic and has much less traffic compared to the main highways, especially fewer trucks and large buses. The roads can sometimes be rougher than the highway, but usually the scenery makes up for it. Not long after leaving Ninh Binh though, we took a wrong turn, but it worked out pretty well for us. We ended up on this beautiful stretch of road flanked by farmland on both sides. We stopped at one point to ask a lady what was being farmed because the fields looked really interesting.
Xin lỗi chị. Em hỏi chị ở đây trồng cây gì nhỉ?
Turns out it was pineapple. Then, for good measure, Daniel asked her if we were actually on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And she basically pointed behind us and told us, "You've missed it." A big part of the ride today was through Đường Làng, which are small village roads cutting through local communities and farmland. Whenever possible, we usually prefer taking these smaller roads instead of the highways. It takes longer, but it's way more interesting. You pass through villages, see more local life, and the scenery constantly changes. The downside, though, is dust. A lot of dust. Many sections of the road weren't fully paved, and there was also quite a bit of road and building constructions happening in some areas. Combined with the heat and almost no breeze, it made riding pretty exhausting. We found ourselves stopping regularly throughout the day to just cool down and hydrate. The first couple of stops were just quick roadside breaks to escape the heat for a bit.
Well, when we're stationary, very, very hot, but it's okay when we're on the bike. Making a quick pit stop. Daniel, how far do we have to go, hon?
I think another 2.5 hours.
Another 2 hours if we don't
2.5 hours,
make too many stops, or two hours.
Yeah.
So, at the hotel this morning, hotel breakfast, the waitress there was so lovely. She packed boiled eggs for us. Children coming back from school. Hello. Xinh gái quá. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Everyone. Giỏi.
Con tên gì?
Tên đẹp thế, Khánh Ly. Đẹp thế. Con biết nói tiếng Anh không?
Biết chút Hương.
Thì cô nói đi.
Biết ơn bà nhé, ngoan với bà nhé, chăm sóc bà nhé.
Giỏi
quá.
I am riding a bike from Hanoi down to the south of Vietnam. Okay, chào nha.
Chào bé An Phương.
So cute. What was I saying? I was telling you about the waitress in our hotel. So sweet. She packed about 8 boiled eggs for us and packed salt and pepper, and also gave us about half a dozen little bananas for the road. Super duper sweet, and also tea bags for us as well.
One thing we've really enjoyed about traveling through Vietnam by motorbike is that even the random stops often turn into memorable experiences. Our third stop was at a small local cafe called Mộc Cafe, where we met the owner, Hiệp.
Ơi, tụi mình đang đứng ở đây là quán gì? Cà phê Mộc. Quán Mộc Cà phê đang ở đâu?
Địa chỉ là Cẩm Thành, đường Mới Cẩm Thành, Cẩm Thủy, Thanh Hóa.
Đây là chủ của quán cà phê.
Dạ, cháu tên Hiệp.
Cháu tên Hiệp.
He told us he had only recently opened the cafe. He's 30 years old, not married yet, but proudly told us he has a girlfriend 10 years younger than him. We also chatted with his mom, who shared a little about their family and her late husband. One thing we've noticed during this trip is that the locals are generally very open and welcoming if you approach people warmly. If you greet people first, smile, and show genuine interest, People are often very happy to chat and share their stories. Before we left, Hiệp recommended we visit a nearby attraction called Suối Cá Thần Cam Luong or Cam Luong Fish Stream, which we hadn't heard before. So we decided to check it out.
Here we are at the Cam Luong Fish Stream, which has been looked after by the locals for generations. The stream's about, give and take, 100 meters, and there must be thousands of fish here. The story goes, misfortune will come to those who harm any of the fish here. So close to the stream here is the temple of the snake. It is said that the temple protects the fish here. There are thousands of them in this beautiful clear stream, and they only eat leaves from the trees. The locals here are lovely. Beautiful people. Very, very cool here. It's outside, it's very hot. But as soon as you walk into this area, I think the coolness from the water and the shades from the tree just cools you down. Very peaceful here, actually.
After spending some time there, we continued towards Pu Luong. And this was where the ride completely changed. As we started getting closer to Pu Luong and climbing into the mountains, everything suddenly became much quieter and more peaceful. The roads became calmer, the scenery opened up, and the late afternoon sun started casting this warm golden light across the valleys and rice fields. Rice terraces covered the hillsides, small wooden houses sat amongst the valleys, and layers of mountains stretched into the distance. It actually reminded us a little of Ha Giang and Sapa. Not as dramatic or steep, but a very similar atmosphere. Pu Luong is often described as a quieter alternative to Sapa, and arriving there definitely felt very different compared to the busier places we'd visited earlier in the trip. By around 4:30, we arrived at Imigos Retreat Pu Luong. Unfortunately, this was also where we had our first little accident on the trip. The roadside area was sloped and covered in loose gravel. Because the bike is fully loaded with all our luggage and camera gear, getting off the bike takes a bit of coordination. Usually, Daniel steadies the bike while I climb off first. But this time, the gravel shifted underneath us and the bike fell sideways, taking me down with it. My biggest concern was actually the camera and the phone mounted on the bike. Thankfully, everything survived without damage, including me. After checking in, we decided not to head back out again because we were completely smashed from the ride. The room at Amigos Retreat was simple but really comfortable after a long day on the road. The view from the resort was so incredible, overlooking the valleys and mountains of Pu Luong. Meanwhile, Daniel had the job of washing all our riding clothes because everything was completely covered in dust. By dinner time, we were starving. We ate at the resort restaurant, and the food was exactly what we needed after such a long day. Simple home-cooked style. That night, we ended up having an early sleep because we wanted to properly explore Pu Luong the following morning. Day 4 was definitely one of the more physically exhausting days of the trip so far, but it also ended up being one of the most rewarding. Between the mountain scenery, the village roads, meeting locals along the way, discovering Cam Luong Fish Stream, and finally arriving in Pu Luong, it turned into a really memorable ride. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode as we properly explore Pu Luong. Xin chào, everybody!